When we are expanding the product of two binomials, we are essentially finding the area of a rectangle. X plus 2 times x plus 3 what's the area of this rectangle? X times x is x squared. X times 1. 1 times x. 1 times 1. So we get x squared plus 5x plus 6. What happens when one of the terms is negative? So we've got an x squared term. X times 1 is x. And again here we have negative 1 times x. That's going to be negative x. We've got negative 1 times positive 1. And so when we simplify in group-like terms, we've got x squared. We've got 3 negative x's, 2 positive x's. That's going to leave us with a negative 1x and we're going to have 6 negative 1's. We're going to expand a number of products of binomials, and we're going to look for patterns. X squared plus 6x plus x plus 6. So, if we look at the last term in the trinomial, we've got 6, positive 6, 25, 6, positive 28, negative 4, positive 16. So if we look at the two constants in this product, we've got 6 and 1, positive 6, positive 1, positive 5, positive 5. When we multiply those, we're getting this last term. So 2 positives make a positive, a negative and a positive, we're getting a negative, 2 negatives, we're getting a negative. When we simplify, Now if we look at the coefficient on the middle term, the x term, we're going to see that it is the constant terms added up here. So 6 plus 1 is 7, 5 plus 5 is 10, 2 plus 3 is 5, 4 plus 7 is 11, negative 1 plus positive 4, positive 3, minus 2 minus 8 gives us negative 10. So can we apply that pattern to expanding and simplifying these products? So we've got the 1 plus the 4 is going to give us the 5, and 1 times 4 is going to give us the 4. 6 plus 2 gives us 8. 6 times 2 gives us 12. 8 plus negative 1 gives us 7. 8 times negative 1. Negative 3 plus negative 5. Negative 3 times negative 5. Negative 10 plus 4. Negative 10 times 4. Negative 5 plus negative 1. Negative 5 times negative 1. Okay, so now I want to factor my trinomial. Factoring is the opposite of expanding. I want to start with the trinomial and go back to the two binomials that were multiplied to get this trinomial. So I'm going to use algebra tiles, and x squared plus 8x plus 12 looks like this. And what I have to do is arrange all of these tiles so that they form a complete rectangle. So there's no missing gaps, no extra pieces. You put it all together and it makes one rectangle. So if you play around with this long enough and you experiment, you will end up with this rectangle. And if you look at the dimensions of the rectangle, those are the two factors. So this rectangle is x plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units long. And it is x plus 1, 2 units high. And we can check our answer by expanding this product. And we can see that our solution is correct. So when we factor a trinomial like this, there are two terms that multiply to give us 36 and that add to give 15. So if we want to factor this trinomial, what we can do is check all the pairs of numbers that multiply to 36. So 1 times 36, 2 times 18, 3 times 12, 4 times 9, and 6 times 6. Now if we used 1 times 36, what would they add to? They would add to 37. 37 doesn't work. 2 plus 18 would give us 20, that doesn't work. 3 plus 12 would give us 15, so that works. Do any of the other ones work? This is 13, no, and 12. So we want to use 3 and 12. We can check our answer. And we are correct. So to factor this trinomial, we want two numbers that multiply to negative 18 and add to positive 17. So because the 18 is negative, we know that one of the numbers has to be negative and one of the numbers has to be positive. So we could do -1, positive 18. Could do +1 and negative 18. That would add up to 17. This would be negative 17. So this gives us -7, and this gives us +7. So we have a pair of numbers that will work. We're going to check our answer. And we have a correct factored solution. Okay, so the two numbers we're looking for to factor this, they multiply to positive 25 and they add to negative 10. That tells me that both of them are going to be negative. So there's going to be a negative sign here. So I'm only going to consider the negative pairs of numbers. So to get 25, you could do -1 and -25. That would give us a sum of -26. -5 and -5 will give us the 25 when you multiply them, and -10 when we add them. And if we check our answer, we have it correct. We can shorten this answer by writing it as x minus 5 squared. So we're going to factor this expression. This expression only has 2 terms in it, so we're actually going to rewrite it so that it has 3 terms. So I just put a 0 in for that constant term. So now we need 2 numbers to multiply to 0 and add to 5. Well, you could do 0 and 5. And they add to 5. Now, x plus 0 is just x, so we would write it like this. You can do a check. X squared plus 5x. Same idea here. We're going to rewrite this so that it has 3 terms. 2 numbers that multiply to 0 and add to -7. So I can tell it's going to be -7 and 0. And if I expand that, in my head I'll get x squared minus 7x, which is our original expression. Okay, we're going to apply the same idea here. We have an x squared term and we have the constant term. We just don't have the x term. So I'm going to say 0x, which is the same as writing 0. And I want 2 numbers that multiply to -25 and add to 0. So -5 and +5 multiply to -25 and add to 0. And you can do a check to make sure that's correct. Again, I'm going to put in that 0x term to make it a trinomial, 1, 2, 3. And we need 2 numbers that multiply to -81 and add to 0. Very similar to the last question. -9, +9. You can do your check and see that it is correct.